Hello and welcome to the show. We are live from our studios here in Kokomlemle. Digital address GA0992539. Our lead stories so far. Police search for suspected separatist group who attacked the whole STC yard, setting vehicles ablaze and attacking staff on duty at dawn. We are live on the ground as residents demand from government swift action. Crucial meeting between Volta Regional House of Chiefs and state authorities expected on Thursday to address revolts which started on Friday in the region. More as the region's House of Chiefs accused government of refusing to attend a previous meeting they were invited to. Also coming up, Prempeh College dominates 1/8 stage contest, beating arch-rival St. Thomas Aquinas SHS to keep their hopes of clinching their 5th trophy. We're live on the ground once again where Kumasi Anglican SHS, Obuasi SHTS and Edujemfi SHS lock homes. Join us on DSTV 421 Go TV 144. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. I am Gifty Ando Apia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Well, today, Ghana House has a huge security threat on its hands. You can call it crisis if you want. The Volta separatist group appeared to now be employing terrorist tactics, targeting locations and staging devastating violent attacks. How worse can it get? They took everyone by surprise when they stormed 2 police stations, shot and injured 4 police officers, including the district commander. They broke into the armory and then headed to the roads at the exit points of the Volta region to block them. Hundreds were left stranded. Now, whilst police and military troops try to normalize the situation, there is yet another attack, this time more violent. Well, they stormed the state transport terminal, fully armed, brutalizing staff and setting some buses ablaze. None of them sound like things that could happen in Ghana, but yes, it did happen. This afternoon, we bring to the fore concerns by various security experts and look ahead to the threat. We'll also look for solutions to the entire situation. First, a report that brings us up to speed with events so far. Police say the group of armed men stormed the State Transport Corporation STC in Ho at 2 a.m. on Tuesday. They reportedly fired gunshots before proceeding to assault drivers of the buses. David Achampong is driver of the STC bus, which was set ablaze by the alleged secessionists. He tells JoyNews his vehicle was shot at twice by the unidentified attackers.
Abo me glass ni e wo car na chi ndi ho ana minyane e ma yese me pie afri car nu asi efom ana me sa ati tu second why say asatu ndi that na maduru gate na me bi ndi me se me bi gate na si fom ana me hu se jada car nu mu ana me ye fast na me si boni me si fom duru aha na ana.
I was sleeping in the bus when I heard a gunshot. The back window of the bus got broken. I woke up to check what was happening, then I heard another gunshot. Just when I stepped out of the bus to check, it caught fire. Suddenly, someone pointed a gun to my head and asked that I lie down. I knelt down and raised my hands, begging them not to kill me. I saw 2 men, but I think they were more than that. They went to the security man and demanded for the keys. Then they moved behind the yard. Then I fled.
The
security guard on duty was held at gunpoint while they set one of the buses on fire and damaged another.
was around 2:15 a.m. when we saw a group of men enter the yard. It was dark, so I couldn't see their faces. I asked them what was happening. They said I should wake up and lie on the ground. I begged them. They said I should lie down with my face on the ground and not speak. I heard them break a window of the bus. Then suddenly, the bus caught fire. When I realized they had left, I ran from the yard to report to the police.
Joy News' correspondent Fred Kwame Asari reports some residents of Ho are concerned about the security situation in the Volta region and wants government to act and to do so immediately.
So they said they should shoot. Where the yard people, where they inside to the securities, they are not having gun, they are not having anything. So them students, they fear. Even one of them to jump the wall, we enter for the KCS, the Mayadis. So one of the security, as they hear that thing, is into fear. They like one of them call the manager. So some people come attack, even the bank car, those things, one of the car to the bank. So the manager to call the fire service. By the time the fire service they come, according to my brother, he saw everything. So as they hear the siren, when they thought it be police. So they started to run away. They run, they pass it, or they shoot at the same time they shoot. So before fire service go car reach, all vanish. So then the fire service come quench that car with the bed. So as they quench that thing, before everything calm down. Before then too, he ride that walk go the service center, the front of the STC, at the place where they load. As they go, one of them saw him. They say, "No, be this man." Then they follow him. What did they set for here? Then at the same time they talk and say, "Make he search himself." So through that, then take a stick where they use. The stick they take up. They take the stick. One of the guy will be filling station in security. So he cross the road, he go the guy in there, then one of them to change some for them. Change some more, they go meet that security where the filling station. So into the attacker. So they collect him phone, they search him, nothing no buy. The phone will they take, will they boot him, will he fall down. So before that my man for here, he get chance to walk through Banque side, Kokra. So later on, before the thing all come down. So me, I no come out until now 5:15 or so before I come out. That time, everything. Because before that time, the soldiers come. As they come up, they call my brother, we go explain. So he just left. Like he himself, he will talk with everything. That's what I hear about.
My view with what is going on in the country between the Western Togoland, that group, and the government is, I think the government have to come into a negotiation table with this particular group, know their grievances. If they are able to solve it, fine. But if they are not able to solve it, I think the problem is still there.
It is unclear if the perpetrators are members of the Western Togoland Restoration Front, but the incident has heightened the presence of security forces in the area. The Ho Municipal Chief Executive Officer, Prosper B. Pansa, said the recent attacks took them by surprise.
Yes. After Friday, we met and took a decision. We identified some strategic points and tasked the military and the police and all security. Even the prisons was involved and all other security agencies were involved. So we strategized. We realized that the earmarked certain positions like the big markets and some private strategic positions. So we went around this installments and warn them or educate them that they should be alert. We don't have men to put at all these places, so we advise that they should beef up their security and. But
Mr. P. Bansa, just allow me here. This has taken a dimension which, even for the police service, when we called the PRO in Ho, he told us to reach Accra and reach his bosses in Accra, because this has taken a bigger dimension. So I'm wondering why you would want to leave the security to such areas to those who manage it themselves. Can't you ask for reinforcement for Accra, for example?
Oh, that one. In fact, the people are involved in manning these places. So we went round and gave them private numbers to call whenever they suspect there is an intruder. So we went around these private facilities where we think are vantage points to target. That is what we have done.
All right, I appreciate.
The Municipal Chief Executive Officer also adds the Security Council will be meeting later on Tuesday afternoon. That gives you an idea of how far this story has traveled. On the ground, by the way, we have two correspondents following this for us, Ivy Setoji and Fred Kwame Asari. Ivy is joining us via Zoom. Fred is joining us on the phone. Let me start with you, Fred. Fred, in the last few hours, a few things have happened. What do you have from your end? Hello, Fred, do you hear me? Okay. Looks like I've lost Fred. We'll try and raise Ivy as well. Ivy has been following up on those vandalization of the STC yard. But in the last few hours, the police has also issued a statement on their social media handle. And those are the details contained there. It says the police is investigating the allegation that at about 2 a.m. today, 4 armed men stormed Ho STC yard, demanding the keys to all the vehicles parked and set 2 of the minibuses ablaze. When the drivers did not produce the keys, the arrival of police and fire service personnel saved the situation. Preliminary investigation shows that there were 11 vehicles parked at the time of the incident, and 1 bus was completely burnt, another slightly burnt. A flag, according to the police, of the group which calls itself Western Togoland Transformation Front, was found at the scene. Police is urging the public to remain calm while volunteering information to the police and other security agencies. Essentially, that's what the police captures on their Facebook handle with details as they have gathered it. What they are saying is that they are investigating what happened. Now, former President John Dramani Mahama is on a campaign trail. He has been condemning these attacks. Listen.
Volta region and Crofo Humbi Abesisia coin. Say Volta region a ho e yomodia enti omo beje fahudie na Ghana asase enyina Ghana asase. Ghana is a sovereign republic. Nobody can claim a part of Ghana. Papa Rolex kukuru Ghana si ho yengina yeka ho bi Aigbefo Bonofo Asantefo Dagombafo Fantefo Asantefo yengina yeka ho yengina yeka bomu ene ye Ghana enti yentimi entna ho emanipa mbeka se obetwa Ghana fa akọ enti yeti ho na we so aka se oh emre bi yana nanom na yenka Ghana ho enti yeso ye betwa ye de akọ na we so betwa ne de akọ na we so betwa ne de akọ ene de na beka nia eka ye nyina bomu ne se ye nyina ye Ghana fo na nia emma NDC yesronko ene se ye de yimu Yɛhu sɛ wei ɛyɛ bononi, wei ɛyɛ asantini, wei ɛyɛ gonjani, wei ɛyɛ igbeni. Emre bi a NDC ɛwɔ aban mu yɛka obiara bom.
Former President John Dramani Mahama, who is seeking another term or another shot at the presidency on his campaign tour. Let's go back to the Volta region. Fred Kwame Asare is our correspondent. Let's see what he has. Fred, what can you report at this point?
I'm still here at the whole SDC yard or terminal. Currently, the military personnel who were here earlier in the morning have evacuated. They left before 10 a.m. And then also the Deputy Volta Regional Minister was also at the scene. Reverend Avulete, he was also at the scene to ascertain the situation, but then he had also left. As we speak, the place has been closed down. The STC yard here in the Volta Regional Capital, it's not operating today. They said until further notice, they wouldn't move cars from here to Ho. However, buses have been arriving from Accra to Ho. Those who are flying the routes from Accra to Ho have been arriving. However, they are not moving from Ho to Accra at the moment. But then the place has been closed to the public. But people are tripping in one after the other to have a glimpse of the burnt vehicles.
So, talking about the burnt vehicles, has the STC in the region been able to quantify how much this is costing the state in any way?
When we got here earlier in the morning, we were able to speak to the driver and then the manager. However, we further tried to interrogate them as to how much or the cost of the vehicle and then how much damage has been done to their vehicles. They are tight-lipped on the issue at the moment. They told us that they have had directives that they shouldn't speak to the media and to further notice. So, to answer your question on how much the vehicle or the damage or how much has been the damage, I may not be able to answer at the moment because the officials here are tight-lipped on the issue and then have refused to speak to the media.
Some of the residents that spoke to you say they are concerned about security, particularly in the Volta region, because of what started on Friday and what has happened today as well. What more do they say? You said that there were security personnel on the ground when this happened. Are they now satisfied with the response, the security agency's response today?
When the incident happened, after the fire has been doused or quenched, the military guys came here to corrode the area and then monitor the situation. But then before 10 a.m., they had dispatched or they had left the scene. So as we speak, there are no security officials here. What residents in the Volta Regional Capital, or for that matter, the Volta region are saying is that you might not know where these people would attack next. So they are calling for security to be beefed up in the area to ensure that their lives will be safe. They also mentioned that since this incident begins to happen, they would want the regional minister and for that matter, who is the head of the RECSEC to ensure that security is beefed up in the area. All public installations should be manned or security at the public installations should be beefed up. I should also say that here at the whole STC yard terminal, there are security men here, but then they are not armed. They are just they just have those stakes they use, so they are not armed. So I'm sure that is how come the people were able to identify this place and then attack here. So what they are saying is that the VRCC or the Volta Regional Coordinating Council is just about 3 to 5 minutes drive away from the STC yard. And then we have the Ghana Commercial Bank also in the area. We also have the regional, the whole district police headquarters is also adjacent to the bank, Ghana Commercial Bank. So what they are calling for is that security should be beefed up at these public installations to ensure that people do not attack this installation and then maybe undergo their operations there.
Fred, let me just ask you this. You live in you live in the Volta region and you have been interacting with the people today. I want to find out from you, what sense do you get when you talk to them, apart from what they're telling you? Do you get the sense that they feel this is not much of a big deal? Or do you get the sense that they are really worried and concerned about their personal security?
Yes. Some people we spoke to, they said, like I earlier mentioned, you might not know when next these people would target. They might go to the whole central market where business activities are ongoing. They might go to the home main station. So some residents are a bit terrified and scared. Okay. People in the area here are a bit terrified, especially the backyard of the SCC yard where residents live. They are a bit terrified. And they are calling for security to be beefed up in the area. And then also, I should also add that they are not happy these things are happening in the Volta region because they feel people shouldn't just take the law into their own hands and then go about burning places and attacking police installations. They feel that when you have an issue you want to put across or you have a grievance, you should go through the right channels and then ensure that the government gives you a listening ear or the government hears what you are trying to say. And if not tackled, you still insist. They shouldn't take the law into their own hands and then go about undertaking illegal activities which put their life at risk. So residents are a bit terrified in the Volta regional capital and for that matter, the Volta region.
Thank you very much. We'll come to you as and when Fred Kwame Asari, there, our correspondent in the Volta region, bringing us up to speed on what's happening there. Very soon we'll be talking to the Vice President of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs. Now, they have issued a statement and we'll tell you what that statement contains. But then it's been a number of days. I mean, it started on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and in Tuesday. Security analyst Colonel Festus Abuaje wants President Akufo-Addo to speak up on the matter. He says the silence of the presidency on this matter is worrying.
No. So we must combine all of these. Now, all of these things must be articulated in a national strategy. And I want to say it once again that the leader of this country, the president, the commander-in-chief, must come out and tell Ghanaians what the country knows, what it is doing, and how it is going to go about address this issue. It is not sufficient over the last few days to have a Minister of Information talking, to have a regional minister talking. We've had a MUSEC chair talking, a police superintendent talking, and you don't get a national strategy. And it's not authoritative enough. You see, we have conceded ground or grounds to this group, and we need to reclaim that ground, especially in the public information domain. If we don't start explaining to a wide range of audiences, not only Ghanaians, the group itself, the Voltarians, the Togolese, other people in the external community, we might be making a serious mistake. The government needs to tell Ghanaians, and not to take Ghanaians like Ghanaians are not sensible, they don't understand issues. You see what I mean? And I use the example of the spiritual dimension. Whether we accept it or not, there is a spiritual dimension to this conflict. If you're going to have Ghanaians put their souls behind the government and in support of the state, they must be mentally aware of what is going to happen or what is happening before their souls and their spirits can support this cause. I'm not forcing the government. I'm only suggesting that it might work well for us if we come out openly and let Ghanaians know where we are at with this threat than this kind of cat and mouse fire brigade approach where I'm sure by this time we have posted some security at STC, but we may pull them out maybe by day's end or something like that.
Quickly and finally, Colonel, there's also the concern about the impact of this on the elections. Already, we saw that during the voter registration exercise, the Volta region was a hotbed, and there are concerns that this could create a certain atmosphere leading up to the elections, which may in turn affect the entire nation. Just a quick comment on that as we wrap up the conversation, sir.
That is the unfortunate thing about what we call unintended consequences. Invariably, once you put security forces on the ground, there will be human rights violations, whether intended or not intended. Friday was not an exception, where it may appear that an innocent soul has been shot, let's say. So in the run-up to elections, and we have the registration exercise to guide us, once you deploy military forces, and maybe for lack of leadership, for lack of effective command and control, maybe to some extent, for some reasons of political interest, manipulating that deployment, you're going to have these troops intimidating the populace, making it impossible or unlikely for them to come out and vote. So it is one of the consequences that needs to be analyzed by the authorities. And that is why I'm suggesting that there are many ways of infesting the area with security presence. Simple checkpoints, simple roadblocks, simple patrols. Definitely vital installations now need to be commanded and controlled. Key installations, if there is a Bank of Ghana office somewhere there, it's a vital installation. The Pond Dam, for instance, is one. Any place that is likely to be targeted. And that is where the challenge is, because, look, they're looking for the PR benefit. You see, so STC now, by this time, the news is all out in the world that the group has attacked an STC. But what was the damage that they did? Very, very minimal. You see, but the impact on the perception, the psyche of Ghanaians, that we are not safe, that we can now be targeted willy-nilly by this group as and when they choose, you know. We need the strategy to be clearly defined before we articulate it. If we don't sit down and develop that coherent, comprehensive strategy, and we make it a kind of touch and go, fire brigade, cat and mouse thing that I've tried to suggest, it's going to be a bit more difficult for us to contain this.
Well, if you live in the region, you or your family, or you have family that lives there, we'd love to hear from you. So do send us a message on our social media platforms. So this afternoon, the Volta Region House of Chiefs has issued a statement, and in that statement, they're expressing frustration at the manner in which they believe government has handled this matter. We'll speak to the Vice President of the House of Chiefs. Let me welcome Togbi Tepre Hodo IV. Sir, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm starting with your statement. First of all, you as the Regional House of Chiefs had a standing committee meeting when this happened. I want to take your assessment of what has happened with this from Friday up until now so far. How do you assess the situation as a Regional House of Chiefs?
Well, we think that there has been a total breakdown of the requisite communication that ought to have taken place between the Volta Region House of Chiefs and at least the government representatives in the region. You know, because the situation is still fluid, and some of us are really worried about the fact that just last night there was some occurrence again. I am no security expert, but I should have imagined that some of these things should have been, you know, steps should have been taken to avert this kind of thing that we had occurring again just last night. You know, so I think it's a situation where we all are not satisfied with the level of security that has been put in place so far in the region. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in your statement, you said that you invited the religious chieftaincy and religious affairs minister, as well as the national security minister, Albert Kandapa, to this particular meeting. I want to find out exactly how this invitation went out to them, and the response you get, some of which you've put here. Please go ahead.
Yeah. The invitation in respect of Mr. Albert Kandapa was conveyed to us by the President of the National House of Chiefs, that's Tokwe Apede, who also happens to be a member of the Standing Committee of the Volta Region House of Chiefs. Yeah. He informed us that he had called him and he said he was already in Kumasi to prepare for the President's tour of the Ashanti region. So he couldn't, attend the meeting. With the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, on the Saturday before the meeting on Sunday, we called the registrar of the Volta Region House of Chiefs to call him. And he responded to him that he had already scheduled other appointments for the Sunday, so he could not attend. So that was just the position we had.
So were there representatives in terms of the local governance leaders? You know, you've got the MCE, the DCs, etc. Was there any representative?
No, we didn't do that. We thought that our minister directive was that of there was the Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. So if he had attended, if he had found the time to attend, I mean, we would have, because we convey all our concerns primarily to the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs.
Did you call upon the regional minister, the Volta regional minister, Dr. Lecha?
No.
Why didn't you think it was necessary for him to at least represent the government?
I had indicated to you that we worked through the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you preferred that he'd sat in that meeting?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. In fact, if I may go on, there is some indication of some meetings being convened.
Well, that was what I was going to come to, because we understand that meeting has been slated for Thursday, which is the day after tomorrow.
Yes, but I got some information. It's already been rescheduled to Friday, not Thursday, Friday.
What, were you given any reasons why this meeting has been rescheduled?
No, I think it is all because maybe for the convenience of a bigger number of the membership of the House of Chiefs to attend.
Okay.
I guess that's the reason.
Okay. So bottom line is that this meeting, I mean, we can go on and on about the meeting that didn't happen and the meeting that is yet to happen. But the bottom line of this conversation is to have a solution to this ongoing problem.
Exactly.
I want to find out, what do you think as Vice President of the Regional House of Chiefs can be done as we wait for that big meeting to tackle the situation? What do you think can be done? Better still,
Exactly.
What is being done right now to deal with the situation at your level?
What we think is that, if you ask me, all these acts are pure criminal activities. And therefore, I think that the security should have been, security and maybe investigations should have been stepped up. From Friday till now, I am positive that if that had been done, you see, this kind of thing that happened at Dawn, for example, may not have happened. Like I said before, I'm no security expert. But I should imagine that if the security situation had been stepped up in the region, I think that some of these things could have been averted. That's our worry. Because, you see, a sort of state of insecurity is being created in the Volta region.
Okay.
You see, people, the ordinary man on the street might just run, hey, they say it's not safe. Word goes around in Ghana like wildfire. What are we going to get on our hands? That's why I think that the security situation should have been stepped up in the region.
Okay.
That's my thinking.
Yes. And is that a thought you have shared with the security agencies? Because I assume that you'd be in touch with the security agencies as leader of the people.
We don't have any kind of access to the security, people in the region. Or, like I said, we do these things through our ministry.
All right. Okay. I get that part.
So I just hope that when this meeting comes on, some of these concerns will be, expressed by more of the chiefs.
Okay.
Because if you head, some other towns in the Volta region have had, some chiefs from other towns have had, their individual, press conferences, just to express the disquiet that is pervading in the whole region. And I think that the security services have to do something about it, so people can go about their lives normally.
You raise a few points in your statement, I think about 7 of them. You talk about how possible it was that mounting of billboards, evaded the police, how hoisting of flags, for example, couldn't have been detected by the police, how you say certain things were done that, as far as you're concerned, the police or the security agencies should have noticed. But as traditional leaders in the area, would you say that this also came to your attention at a point? Did you know anything about this?
Well, we only see these things in the media, for example, the mounting of these billboards. It was when it was all over in the social media and, in the newspaper media that some of us got to know about this thing. But the questions we are asking, could these matters not have been, averted? How could some people carry big billboards? They're not small billboards that, they would have hidden in some box or something. These were huge billboards that were mounted. Well, didn't they pass any checkpoints before they went up to mount those? 2, if you can brazenly hoist a flag of the Western Togoland Group on the building that houses the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, that is in the regional capital. I thought that was really serious. And I should have imagined that something swift should have been done. But it looks like it was just, I don't know, the whole thing was just kind of, ignored. Right. And these are the concerns that we have.
The other concern has been
people go and do that kind of thing, and then nobody who did it.
The other concern has been that, and this afternoon we're spoken to government spokesperson, the Minister for Information, who says that this is not the time to split heads in the media. This is not the time to yes, this is not the time to, so to speak, for lack of a better word, fight over the issue, but it is the time to coordinate our efforts and see how we can actually deal with this situation. I want to find out what solutions that, from your perspective, are feasible, applicable, and urgently needed as you go into that meeting on Friday.
First of all, security in the region has to be stepped up. Okay. I don't know the kind of various levels, but this for me should be high security alert. And you see, some of these things are happening on the blind side of the security, probably because, who knows, there are people in the region who are complicit in this thing. So I think that the whole thing boils down to the fact that the general security situation has stepped up. Okay. We all want to see an end to this kind of unprecedented, unleashing of violence in the border region. This is the first time since I was born so many years ago that I heard about this kind of thing, this kind of thing happening, and it is real cause for concern to all of us. So I think that there should be that collaborative effort on all sides.
Okay.
To stem the tide of this emerging monster, that we have on our hands.
So another issue that you raised in your statement is the identity of 2 people who were shot dead at Japon and another 3 at Bator. One of those shot dead at Japon was reported to be a known nearby coconut seller. That's number 1. Number 2, you say also that the identity of those arrested following Friday's events was alleged that innocent bystanders who were observing what was happening were also arrested. Essentially, what you're saying is that people have been arrested who are innocent, but it has to come with some level of evidence, doesn't it?
I think that with the arrest of those who innocent bystanders, I think that happened. I think in Bato or somewhere around that area, and then also there were some traders who were allegedly coming back from market where we call Gemini. They arrived at one of the illegal route crossers. They were also arrested. The point we are making is that let us be careful. We don't get people who are innocent arrested. Okay. And all that could be averted if security is beefed up, the right kind of approaches are made. Because if somebody is standing by, who says that the mere presence at the scene of a crime, makes you a criminal or a suspect? Okay. That is not a legal position as far as I know it. You see, so if you arrest people who are just standing by, what are you going to achieve? You will go to court and there will be no evidence to prefer against those kind of people, and they will have to be let off. It will have been a waste of everybody's time. So this is the time for us to do proper and better investigation, to unravel this whole mission. I am saying that there are people in the region, and with a proper kind of security approach or intelligence approach, we should be able to unearth or uncover some of this. So, bottom line is, let us all collaborate and let us all step up the security situation in the Volta region, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I'll wrap up the conversation with you by asking you to talk to your people. I mean, this is a platform that people are watching and listening to you as a leader. What will you tell those who? Yes,
if you see the press statement that we made, the final paragraph, has appealed to people of the Volta region to remain calm and help just maintain the peace that we have enjoyed all these years. These are not normal times in which we find ourselves. And we don't really want to go blaming anybody. Let us just all collaborate. And our appeal to the people of the Volta region, if you know some of these people who are into these dastardly acts, please report them as a civic duty to the nearest police station. There is now a law which says that I'm not even compelled to disclose your identity when it comes to matters such as this. So they should fearlessly go to the police stations, report some of these suspicious movements, and face persons who are involved. So we all can get some respite, because this is totally unprecedented in the history of this country, and it must be stopped. And we need the collaboration again of everyone.
Very well. Sir, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Togbe Tepre Hodo, the fourth. He's the Vice President of the Volta Region House of Chiefs, and he's issued a statement this afternoon. First of all, they're condemning the acts, but they're also raising concerns about how government has handled this. They want more security presence in the region, and they're asking the public to volunteer information to the security agency so we can deal with this very well. Joining us via Zoom, by the way, is Hadip Zani. He's Executive Director of Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building. He's a security analyst as well. Hadip, thank you for your time this afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gibson.
So I want to begin by asking you whether or not you agree with the ideas, you know, what the chief I just spoke to said. He said this happened on Friday and we failed to stop what happened today by failing to put in more security presence, for example, in the region. Is that tenable?
Well, it is extremely tenable, and this is very much consistent with my earlier opinions about what is going on. I mean, on countless occasions, I have been very categorical. I haven't minced words in criticizing the national security apparatus for their inability to effectively handle this issue. Indeed, after Friday's events, we've had a number of politicians, including the Volta Regional Minister and even the Information Minister, coming out to say emphatically that, yes, it could have been worse, but for the intelligence we had on the ground. So what happened today, from my initial analysis, is based on, a single fact that, okay, you are wrong. You said you had intelligence on the ground, but we are able to hit you and hit you hard again. So it's obviously an indication of the fact that we seem not to be getting it right, and we are refusing to accept the fact that we're not getting it right. The problem still remains largely our inability to understand this group, our inability to understand their modus operandi. Indeed, I wouldn't be surprised if national security at the very top don't really have a full grasp of what is going on. And remember, we cannot have security personnel everywhere all the time, no matter how fortified the place, the area is. That is why it is extremely critical to involve the people, as has been rightly mentioned by the Regional House of Chiefs, so everybody would be part of the security maintenance process. That is why involving the people in the area is extremely key. This morning, I received an SOS call from a highly placed person who is playing a very major role in countering this threat, telling me that we are in for a rough ride. And of course, it is something they cannot say in the media, because in times of crisis, resilience is key. We would have to prove to the people we are still in control of the situation. But in as much as those of us within the security space are trying to help government manage the information, they are not helping themselves. Let us accept the fact that mistakes have been made, and we need to correct these mistakes. Unfortunately, we are still making those mistakes. So, I mean, how do we get it right? Until we put these mechanisms in place, until we accept the fact that really these mistakes are mistakes we have made, and we will get it better than going forward, we will still have them hitting us hard. So, unfortunately, it is sad to say that they've chalked another victory.
Well, it is sad to say, like you put it. But for individuals, these days, you don't really know who is watching and who is listening. Over the years, there has been a problem with public confidence in the security agencies, especially in the police. How would you advise people who live within this region to step up and volunteer information? Right now, that is what a lot of people are asking for, including yourself. How should people go about it? How can you possibly go about it if you don't trust the police and if you feel some way, somehow that the police is not protecting your interest?
Well, the thing is, nobody, no side, whether it is the police or civilians, can operate in isolation. They have to complement each other's roles. But it should, of course, start with the police. I have always maintained that the police should be professional. They should go about things with respect to the Police Service Act. However, over the years, like you rightly mentioned, trust is really is waning. But until we are able to get the police to work in line with the 9 pillar principles of modern day policing, that is hinged around harnessing your relationship with the general population based on mutual trust and respect. One of it would be their ability, their capacity to investigate crime, the relationship they have with the public on daily basis. I mean, we speak with the police. They are in street corners. They are in our neighborhoods. How do we get them to be more professional in their disposition? Very recently, I was speaking with a colleague of mine who said he was stopped by an officer in traffic, and the approach was so muddled with unprofessionalism, and it's further consolidated his opinions about the police being an unprofessional body. All of these little things matter, because what use is a bath without a tap? As a result, going forward, we'd have to get the police to be professional. However, we need to also approach this issue beyond the militarized posture, in as much as we're concerned about using force and getting the people to believe in the security agencies so far as our strength is concerned. But we really need to engage more. By engaging more, we would understand opinions and perceptions. Then we would strategize the security in such a manner, the security protocols in such a manner that the people would have a very important role to play moving forward. However, we also need to, like I always say, improve intelligence gathering. It's key. But going forward, Gifty, this brings to fore another major issue that some of us have spoken over a very long period of time. That is the need for us to have a national security strategy. This is only logical, for crying out loud. Liberia, Sierra Leone, Uganda, South Africa.
But then how do we know that? How do we know we don't have this? The fact that we don't know doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Or do you know something we don't know?
We don't have it, but it is with respect to your earlier question on how to get the people involved. Okay. And you see, national security strategy is different from policy. In Ghana, we have different types of security documents. Arms and Ammunition Act, Security and Intelligence Agencies Act, Cyber Security Policy Document, etc. They are so disjointed, you know, but if you are able to bring everything together in the form of a strategy, then we have an operational manual as to how to go about it. It would foresee, we'll be able to foretell some of the emerging security issues, because this is not a standing document. This is a document that will be reviewed when there's an emerging security issue, like it happened in the US on September 9th, 2001. It can be reviewed at any time, and it is with respect to emerging security issues. And most importantly, every single person within the state, whether you are a state actor, whether you are a security actor, whether you are a civilian actor, would have a role to play so far as managing the security of the state is concerned. Unfortunately, under this circumstance, all our security protocols, the measures, is on ad hoc basis. You know, they are afterthoughts. But with a national security strategy, everybody would appreciate the role he or she has to play so far as managing the security is concerned, including the chiefs and the people.
That's great. Thank you so much, Adib, for putting this together for us. Adib Sani is the Executive Director of Datike Center for Human Security. They're joining us with his thoughts. I'm going to take you back to the Volta region to find out what is happening with the body of the young man believed to have been shot in connection with last Friday's disturbances in that region. It has been retrieved from Nyachingo, a fishing community in the North Tongu district. Now, hundreds of residents in that community are said to have fled the community after security personnel stormed the area in search of some more persons believed to have been involved in the disturbances. Correspondent Ivy Setoji is in that community right now, and she's joining me with more. Hello, Ivy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ivy. What are the family members saying to you?
Well, the family members are saying that their son was innocent and he was not involved with the people who actually came to attack North Tongue, and that something should be done about it. They want justice for their son. Investigations should be launched into what really happened. Now, they are also saying that a lot of the youth who were arrested by the security service are innocent, that they should go and look for the real people who came to the town to cause havoc to the district. So these people that have been arrested are actually innocent. So this is what they are saying. Currently, the MP for North Tonga, Blackwell Kujeto, with the MP caucus in Parliament in the North Tonga district, precisely Joapon to visit the family of the disease who was killed at Joapon, and also speak to the media.
I just want to find out, Ivy, if you don't have that information, it's okay, but did they provide any basis for the points they're making? If they say he is innocent, do they have reasons why they think the person shot was innocent?
Well, for the guy who was shot in Joapon, they are saying that he was just a coconut seller, normally at the judges selling coconut and farming. And so he being a member of the group was not possible, that he was always at the junction. So he was not a member of the said group. And the one also shot, whose body was discovered at the village where we went yesterday, Nyachiko, the family are also saying that he was innocent. They don't even know what he was doing. He left home about 3 weeks ago, and then all they found was he was shot dead. And so these two families of these two people are saying that their sons are actually innocent, that they should look for the real people who attacked the district.
So essentially, if I got you right, they're saying that one person is a coconut seller who is known in the neighborhood, and so they know that he was there working. But the other one, they know, left home 3 weeks ago and just found him dead. We'll leave that to the security agencies to do their work. But the minority, the voter caucus, like you said earlier, has been visiting. And what sort of comforting messages are they giving the family?
Well, for Emmanuel Bedra, he said he is making sure that the investigation is planned to this attack and the corporates are brought to book. For the MP for the constituency, Ablako Okujeto, is also saying that he will be giving 10,000 cedis to anyone that have information to these people, and also the NDC is ready to make sure that the man that was shot at Joapon is given a befitting burial, and his children taken care of henceforth.
Ivy, thank you so much. Ivy Setoji there, bringing us up to speed on the family of those who were killed. We understand, according to the police statement that came on Friday, that there was a gun battle at some point that was in the Aveime area, but these people got shot or were killed in Joapon, as Ivy puts it. We'll be keeping our eyes on that. In the meantime, though, lawyer for the 31 persons arrested on Friday in connection with the disturbances in the Volta region have been speaking with us. He says his clients are innocent of the charges that have been slapped on them. The charges relate to conspiracy to commit a crime, namely to attend meetings of a prohibited organization, to participate in a campaign of a prohibited organization, and rioting with weapons. Lawyer for the accused persons, Theophilus Donko, in an interview with Evans Mensah on PM Express, said his clients have no connection with the separatist group.
In court, my clients have been charged with 3 counts. The first count is conspiracy to commit crime, to wit, rioting. They've been charged with rioting, but they did not mention in court that they were rioting with any offensive weapon. They were also charged with unlawful assembly. I must also state that none of the 31 persons that were arrested on Friday, no weapon, no offensive weapon, nothing whatsoever was found on them. Today in court, the prosecution said that they themselves came to court and said that the court has no jurisdiction after I have confronted them with the fact that per section 45 of Act 30, they were supposed to try the case within the Volta region, which has jurisdiction over where the crime was committed. So they themselves came to court again and said that the court has no jurisdiction and that the only reason why they are in court is to remand the 31 persons who has been charged with the offenses as presented to the court. I applied for bail for the accused persons. The court had a different opinion that he was going to remand them into BNI custody for the police to conduct their investigation and report back to the court on the 13th of October 2020 for the court to determine whether indeed these are the persons who were actually committed the crime that they have alleged to have been committed.
I mean, yes, go on, please.
If you look at your video, when you first broke this news,
yes,
the secessionist group, you realize that they were all in uniform. They were wearing black with inscriptions and then green khaki trousers but if you look at the accused persons who were in court today, they are people, some of them were in dresses that were going to farm, some were traveling. These were not part of the secessionist group. And they have made it clear to me and they have told the police during their interrogation that they do not belong to this secessionist group. Nobody has recruited them. Nobody has extended a hand of invitation to them. So they are not part of this secessionist group. And then the court also went further to say that they should grant access to me and their relatives. And then further, the court ordered the police that they should give the accused persons the basic necessities of life, because they told me in court that they were hungry, they have not eaten, they have not bathed all the 3 days that they have been in BNI custody. So they need these basic necessities of life. And I made the application to the court, and the court agreed with me on that score.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you though. Let me ask you though. I mean, I'm just reading the charge sheet. It appears from what the state is saying that all these 31 people were all arrested within or around the crime scene as it unfolded on Friday.
Yes, they were at the crime scene. But as they were traveling and the traffic had piled up, they went to the crime scene to find out exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
At the time they arrested them, all the people who are alleged to have belonged to the secessionist group have left the scene. There was one who was even the driver's mate, who the master asked him to go and find out what is happening in front of us that there is so much traffic. So these are persons who are not connected to the crime whatsoever. When they were arrested, they had no access to counsel, they had no access to their relatives, but they still insisted that we do not know anything about this group. We had no connection with this group.
Okay.
That's lawyer of those 31 who have been arrested speaking to Evans Mensah last night. This is still The Pulse with me, Gifty Andopia. Let's do a very quick break here. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has pledged that the next MPP administration will build model senior high schools in the inner cities and zongos across the country. In what appears to be a direct attack at the opposition NDC's pledge to build mortuaries in the zongos, Dr. Bawumia said the NPP in the next term will prioritize the construction of these model schools rather than mosques. The Vice President has also been outlining policies that the NPP has in stock, according to him, including the National Transport Recapitalization Program, which will make it easy for commercial drivers to acquire new vehicles and ditch their rickety ones. Dr. Bawumia said this when he commenced a tour of the Greater Accra region today.
nyame adom yehu omo nyina omo ejuma na John Mahama owo government mo efie watwe 8 years over 4 years as president and yes sir ena Nana Akufo-Addo so wo ho as president just less than 4 years yesu yehu ejuma waye na ohwe John Mahama ne performance no a na ye nyina ye nim se said ye ohwehwe ye economy no na enkoyie mebwana na enkoyie obaye President Kufuor economy na enkoyie NDC baye efie wotwe no na enkoyie ohwe omo management of the economy a incompetent management of the economy. Omo intime uhu sadia omo intime aye ama ahoto aba Ghana. Omo koya omo se namne nyina wie dombe nkwa na aka.
Dr. Baumia's train has moved to Abosokai in the Ablikuma Central constituency. Latif Idrisu is our man on the beat. He joins me right now via Zoom. Hello, Latif.
Hello, Gifty.
So run us through where you have been so far.
Yeah, so Gifty, the day started, like you rightly mentioned in your intro right there, the English Amman from constituency, where the Vice President visited 3 key places. He visited Tuba, and then from Tuba to Amman, and then joined the community leaders at a certain forum where he continued to outline policies the NPP administration has in stock if given the second term at the upcoming December 7 elections. Now, here are some of the highlights of the Vice President's pitch so far. He's talked about the difference between the former President John Dramani Mahama and the current President Nana Akufo-Addo. He says Ghanaians have tried the alternative, which is the former president. They've tried him for 4 years as president. 4 years to 4 years can do. Within the last 3 years, according to the Vice President, Nana Akufo-Addo has also proven to the Ghanaian people what he can do when given the opportunity. So now the ball is in the court of the Ghanaian people to select, come December 7, who amongst the two they think is credible and can deliver on the promises they have made. He says that the former president, in his own words, the Vice President said the former president collapsed the Ghanaian economy. That is how come he couldn't pay teacher training allowances, he couldn't pay nurses allowances, he couldn't roll out fully the free senior higher education policy, which the current administration has taken on board and is delivering. He also talked about some of the policies that former president has promised on the campaign trail. For instance, former President Mahama has mentioned on the campaign trail about what he intends to do for the Zongo communities, one of which during an interview on a television station, he mentioned that he plans to build some mortuaries in some parts of the Zongos across the country. That communication, according to the Vice President, the MPP does not stand for that. What the MPP intends to do is to roll out model-free senior high school education in the Zongos and inner cities. The administration, according to the Vice President, if given the nod, would build model senior high schools in the Zongos and inner cities as against, and I'm using the Vice President's words, as against the former president's promise to build mortuaries within the Zongos.
Okay.
He's also talked about, we all know what happened within the financial sector, the clamp that the administration has undertaken to sanitize the financial sector, which has led to the collapse of banks. Now, according to the
okay, quite a bit of the points that he's made over and over again about what the Vice President intends to do. Like he said, he's moved to Abosokai. Latif will bring you more in the highlights of this tour. Now, the NDC presidential candidate says the next government of his party, if voted for, will invest in secondary education to eliminate the double track system. According to Mr. Mahama, this will ensure that all students attend school at the same time and get adequate contact hours from their teachers. Addressing the Queen Mother and elders of Brekum on Monday, Mr. Mahama said his government will abolish the double track system by completing the remaining the 200 community day senior high schools, as well as investing in new schools and additional infrastructure such as dormitories, libraries, and classrooms in the existing schools.
SHS, depa, and so Osha Kwaya abino edi free SHS na baino. Edi how bebre abre awofono any school nkwadano any a teacher for. If you say unim say free SHS bebano. Na e was say ubiebie akwanya e was secondary school no mo. Se na be yankwada ne be doso obi abenya school ni bia ko. Na saa na ye hye asese ye. Ye hye asese ye si secondary school baako oha mienu e wo Ghana ha. If you say ye nim se yankwada ne ba e wo say ye nya school no dodo se na be yankwada ne benya bia ko. Aban foforo baaye. Se ndwumani bebre ye wie ye boaso ye de pono bibia ahye. And so omoja sa secondary schools ni nyina atumrem anka omo to aso wie ntema anka sa double track ya bai anka ma if you say enkwada ni nyina benya school ni bia nso enne double track ukọ bosom miensa na oyonko abetre fie bosom miensa na we mokọ na we muso aba we mokọ na we muso aba baby bebre ya say enkwada ni tre fie chesa na omo anyenyem Emema no so omukodi enkrofo echi a obenwa na brabo akosei enti mema ka se ye wonioma mienu bi a yebeye ne edikai schools na yesi no yebehye mukina ne yesi sa schools ni nyina awie 200 secondary schools ne yebesi ni nyina awie na yesi bi aka ho se na be ya double track no yebeye free ho na enkwada ni nyina etimi akọ school ni bi. Na baby bebre so wo ho a ye ni aban school wo ho also ye wo private school wo ho I just say we share school adan bibia to say aban school almost so mo obi.
Precious Semevo is on the campaign trail and joins me right now. Hello, Precious. Precious, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. So tell us, what else has the president been up to apart from what we've just heard him say?
Yeah. So the former president today is working or touring the German South district to end the day with a tour in the German North district. But he's here to finish that of German South. Now, so far he has been to Bano, Namatu, Japekrom, and then Drobo. We are just about moving to Jinim before we move on to Abantu. Now, all the gearbest that he attended from Bano to Japekrom to Drobo, all the chiefs are complaining about the deplorable nature of their roads in particular, because they believe that, yes, this is a farming area, mostly cashew production, but the major roads linking the communities is in such a deplorable state, and they are appealing to the former president. Should he become the president of Ghana next year, he should ensure that their roads are fixed. They also talked about their healthcare issues, the educational issues, and other things, particularly at Japekrom, where the chief of Japekrom Traditional Council, he particularly has been telling Mr. John Dramani Mahama, and indeed all other politicians, that it is difficult to assess them the moment they win elections. And he believes that that does not augur well for engagement to foster development in their communities. And that's appealing to them that they shouldn't come to them only when they need their vote. They should also avail themselves after they win elections so that they can have engagement about what the community really needs to develop. Now, at Drobo, where he also attended Edeba, the Jasahini of the Global Traditional Council, Nanamo Yabua Esiama, has said that the long-standing traditional dispute between Jafikrum and Robo. Now, if you know this area very well, German South, there's a long-standing dispute between Robo and then Jafikrum, leading to the curfew that lasted for almost a year, and some cars burned. One person lost his life sometime last year. He believes that it is time that they bury the hatchet. So he is imploring the former president, should he become president, he should ensure that there will be peace between the two communities, because they are neighbors, and without peace they cannot develop. And whilst he's advising them to come together, he's also advising the politicians to ensure that their followers will go by the rules of the game, so that we will have a peaceful environment before, during, and after the election.
Precious, thank you very much for that update there. Precious is on the campaign trail with former President John Dramani Mahama, and Latif Idrisu is with the Vice President, who's here in Accra. Asanteni Otumfuo II has told the President Akufo-Addo it is his good works that will get him re-elected in the December polls. He said this when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo called on him at the Menchia Palace as part of his 3-day tour of the region. It was after the President revealed his government has completed a total of 774 projects in the Ashanti region, with 1,050 other projects at various stages of completion. Prince Appiah followed him and has filed this report.
The president started his tour in the Ashanti region with a visit to the Unij Garment Factory under the One District, One Factory initiative. Then he headed to Asokore Mampong, where he inspected the ongoing expansion project of the Kumasi Airport. From there, the president paid a courtesy call on Otumfuo II, the Asantehene Asanteman Council. Here, the president pleaded with the Asanteman Council to bless him and his parliamentary candidate for the upcoming elections. He revealed at this point that the Buankra inland port that has halted for many years will be revived come November.
Buankra Inland Port, which has been on the drawing table for generations. Nene Breso, Ebaso. November, Emuso, Nebina Kwai, Parliament, Mashebegum, Apre, $330 million United States dollars concession for the Buankra Inland Port. Here, Korea for any Ankasa Ghana for, and Asheda Boom near Babia. Korea for no say November, early November, and what be quite abandoned. One say, you train one in Bra and Sana, Yaba, so about the buffer.
President Akufo-Addo also revealed 15 district hospitals will be built in a matter of 12 months as part of the 111 agenda of building 111 hospitals across the country.
And it's health facilities. Many parts of the country in the district hospitals. For the next 12 months, I see 111 hospitals in Ghana across the country. Not any agenda 111. At this time, no, 101 districts.
Mr. Akufo-Addo, after that, presented all the parliamentary candidates in the Ashanti region to the Asanteman Council and Otumfuo. Otumfuo II also promised the president that Asanteman will not forget his good works.
Wajuma pedu enim asante so kai wajuma pano enim sa asante be kai wajuma so me de paya na de biara mebo amano me say ye nanan mo de ye se yenye mo yi bi yenka ho yenhye jesi ni bi yenye hwe nti ayireyira so ani chibuo de bebem nti yireyira se de usike nanan mo nyina ye to aba nti eja o ye nyina ye koduro ho a yahwe adwuma pa so ne ye de ato no an e de empire an mebo ama no mmia baby a waye adwuma kodro nyina no wo mane manfo no kyekye mu manipa hunu ne ye na ni nyina aka ho ne be me hunu adwuma pa waye dawanimu.
The talk continued with the president inspecting the Afari government military hospital and commissioned the Kasapreko water, juice and soft drinks factories and the Kumasi waste recycling and composite plant. Prince Apia reporting.
President Akufo-Addo has also commissioned a $95 million Zoom Lion integrated composting and recycling plant in Kumasi, with a call on the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to collaborate with the company recycling waste generated in Kumasi. CEO of the Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Siawe Japon, says the company will create 800 direct jobs and 1,500 indirect jobs. Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko was at the commissioning, graced by the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II. Now reports.
The Kumasi Compost and Recycling Plant is part of waste management giant Jospon Group's major waste management intervention in Ghana. An integrated waste processing and recycling company established to receive, sort, process and recycle plastic, metal and organic waste. The project will work on a maximum of 1,200 tons of waste a day with an employment drive of 800 people and an expected 1,500 indirect jobs. Chief Executive Officer of Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Siawe Japon, describes it as the first of its kind in Africa.
This facility is one of its kind in Africa. Is the state of art of composting and recycling with an Australian technology and equipment from Austria from our partners called Comtech. It is a daily capacity of 1,200 tons of organic waste, which have a double cycle of 2,400 tons, and Kumasi generates 1,005, meaning that we have excess of 900 tons that they can absorb. I am happy to announce that over 90% of the work that was undertaken in this plant was done by Ghanaians. In terms of investment, it costs about $95 million. The workforce that will generate is about 800, and indirect of about 1,005. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Jospon Group currently employs over 6,000 core staff and 45,000 operatives under the YEA. Coming together, we currently handle about 51,000 workforce.
At the commissioning yesterday, President Akufo-Addo urged all metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to collaborate with the company to ensure the recycling of Kumasi's waste. The program received the high patronage of the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II.
The integrated composting and recycling plant, which has a 90% recovery rate, will boost the health of the environment and also enhance tourism. Furthermore, recovery of various fractions, such as plastics, paper, and metal, will be made available for the manufacturing sector for reuse. Organic fractions will be used as manure and compost for farmers engaged in the Planting for Food and Jobs program. I urge all key stakeholders, particularly the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, to collaborate with the operators of the facility. I appeal also to the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources to continue to collaborate with the Jospon Group of Companies to ensure the successful completion of the composting and recycling plants in all the 16 regions, for some of which I have already cut the soil.
Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asari Donko, Kumasi.
Now, the newly elected National Executive of the Small Scale Miners Association has accused political actors of hijacking the community mining project introduced as a stopgap measure to end illegal mining across the country. The group made this allegation when they met with board members and CEO of the Minerals Commission in Kumasi. Addressing concerns of the association, Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Adai Enchibwesiako, said the absence of national executives of the association is partly to blame for the mess and expressed optimism about a more structured and regulated mining sector as the new executives take office. Latif Idrissa has more in this report.
The meeting brought together board members of the Minerals Commission, the Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Mr. Adai Enchibwesiako, and the newly elected national executives of the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana. Mr. Bwesiako expressed optimism that with the newly elected executives of the small-scale miners, outlook for the sector looks bright, with huge prospects going forward.
This is still the Pulse with me, Gifty and Dopia. We'll take a very quick break. We'll tell you also about NSMQ. When we return, we also have sports to stay. Welcome back. 27 schools will be at the quarterfinals of the National Science and Maths Quiz this year, but one-time winners St. Thomas Aquinas will not be one of them. The school was knocked out today by giants and former winners of the competition, Prempeh College. The boys, representing among 4 as Prempeh students, are affectionately known, also crushed the dreams of newcomers Asanteman SHS. Before we go live to University of Ghana, let's take a look at the results for today's contest. Accra Academy came up with 48 points, Asin State College came up with 43 points, and Efia Kobe Ampem Girls SHS came up with 35 points. So obviously, Accra Academy is on top of that game. Prempeh College 49, St. Thomas Aquinas 31, and Asanteman SHS 23, putting Prempeh College on the top, St. Thomas Aquinas there in between, and Asanteman SHS at the bottom. And let's take a look at what St. Augustine's College did. 53, Bompe SHTS 36, Techiman SHS 22. So St. Augustine's, the reigning champions, had it at 53 points at the top right there. At Motor School, 42 points. Adventist SHS Bantama, 33 points. St. Hubert Seminary, 24 points. At Motor School, obviously, in the lead here. Let me take you to the University of Ghana, where PSA Nanaya Osafo is standing by with more on what's going on. PSA, what's happening?
Indeed, Gifty, as at the moment, reporting live from the new NB block at the University of Ghana, where the last contest for the day between Archbishop Porter Girls, Pope John SHS and St. Monica's SHS is about to take place. But without further ado on those details, I have with me here one of the program heads for the quiz, Abigail Redu. She'll tell us more about the contest today and what you have to expect. Hello.
Hi, PSA.
Okay, so tell us your position and what you have to expect here today.
In the last contest?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm expecting nothing but the best from these last schools, considering the fact that this is like the last contest, and so like all of the pressure is mounting up on them. But I'm expecting nothing but the best from them, especially Archbishop Porter Girls, who have put up quite an impressive performance, especially throughout the regionals and then through the prelims. They have been good. And then we haven't seen much of Pope John, so we don't know what to expect from them. But I'm expecting quite a good performance from the girls, and we'll see how far they go. Yeah.
But so far, we've seen Keta SHS and Achimota School qualify to the quarterfinals from today's rounds. Yeah. What were your impression of those particular contests?
I was quite disappointed in the Keta Senior High School contest because I was expecting much more from them, but then it looked like throughout the contest they were a bit relaxed, or I don't know if they were scared or the tension got to them. But then their performance didn't really stand out to me, and I was hoping that the other contenders will overtake them at one point. But you could tell that they were also fighting to stay in the competition because they didn't want to lose their seed, like what happened to most of the schools last year. And for the Achimota contest, I was quite impressed with their performance. You know, considering the fact that they had struggled to get their seeded position last year, and then they also fought to make sure that they kept their seed and didn't lose it. So yeah, I was quite impressed with Achimota, but I wasn't so impressed with Keta. Yeah.
Okay. Keeping it short and simple there, that's Abigail Redu. She's one of the program heads of Primetime, organizing this National Science and Math Quiz here. Finally, before I take leave of you, Gifty, let's speak to some of the heads of the schools contesting here. For Pope John's SHS, they have told us that they are not going to speak to us for obvious reasons. They need to prepare, they've told us. But for the other schools, I have two of the teachers here who would give me short messages before the contest begins. Hello, so tell us your names, your schools, and what to expect.
I'm Mr. Matthew Atakufi from Archbishop Potter Girls SHS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what should we expect today? I mean, the stage has been set, literally. What's coming up?
Yes, our girls have prepared very well, and they are here to deliver. And at the end, we'll win the contest.
Wow, you win. You're not even second place.
We will win.
Okay. Wish you all the best. And you, sir?
I'm Alexander, St. Monica's SHS.
Okay.
People believe in their strength and their power, but we trust in the Lord that the Lord will deliver our opponents into our hands so that his victory flag will be raised on St. Monica's.
So look into our cameras and tell us your final message for Munche before we wrap up.
My final message that I wish them well, and I pray that by the end of the contest, victory will be ours.
Okay, so there you have it, Gifty, the teachers poised and inspiring their various girls and boys to victory right here at the end block of the University of Ghana.
PSA, just a very quick one, the Ketasco results. Can you take us through the Ketasco results pretty quickly?
Yes, so with Keta SHTS, Gifty, they had 45 points. Insane SHS, they came up with 29 points. And that of SDA SHS Bekwai, they came up with 22 points, following in third place in that order.
Okay. PSA, thank you very much. Looks like the next competition is about to start. We'll leave it there. PSA Nanaya Osafo coming to us live from the University of Ghana, where the competition is ongoing. And this is where we draw the curtain for now. That's how we wrap up the entire show. But there is more news at myjoyonline.com. My name is Gifty Ando Appiah.